You're listening to Passages, a podcast about great quotes, life, and the wisdom of the Bible. And now your hosts, Drew Kizer, Jason Pulliam, and Tim Layton.
Greetings! I am John Andrew, son of Andy, sage of Salem.
I think you used to say Bar Andy. Is that right?
Oh,
You should have said Bar
Greetings,
Andy.
I'm John Andrew, Bar Andy, the Oracle of Salem, who is with us tonight.
Yes.
My father, Andy Kizer, has joined the Passages crew, and with him is John Timotheus
So
of Oliver Crossing of the OC.
of the OC.
The Merlin of eye clinics.
I'm not
Dr.
a wizard.
JB. Dr. Hey, I didn't practice this.
This is off the cuff. I couldn't
Really?
tell.
And last but not least, Brother Pat.
I was really worried about what that was about to be. True. Thank you for the
Brother Pat.
simpleness.
Well, I think Liesl Evans had it right when he coined you Brother Pat. But we have 5 at the table, 4 mics, 5 men.
It's an exciting night.
so-
Our very first guest on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I think it couldn't be any more appropriate than to have Andy here with us tonight.
That's right.
I'm very
Pressure.
excited.
He's a host, but also a passenger.
Yes.
So
That's right.
We're glad to have him here.
Yeah, passenger.
Yeah.
I am.
Dad and I have been able to spend a lot of time together this week. I went up to Florence for a conference. I don't think I'll give the name of it or talk about who directed it because I want to talk about something that happened there and get your opinion about it. And anonymity is probably important for this.
Okay.
So it was a preacher's conference. There were a lot of people there. It was one of the better things I've been to over the almost
Gave it away.
Yeah, I almost gave it away there. Over the last few years, great lineup of speakers.
Patrick, you may want to have the dump button ready just in case he slips up here and says where it's going on or throws a name. Perfect.
So we heard a lot of good lectures.
Yeah, it was
and,
great. It was really a good time.
one right after another. I mean, it started 1 in the afternoon and it was over by 11 the next morning. And I didn't even count how many lessons we heard. There was one lesson, though, that I was really interested in, and it was done by a very good friend of mine on how to bring a person from visitor to involved member, which we've talked about that a lot at Asheville Road.
Absolutely.
It's a really hard thing to do. And he shared a lot of his methods with us. It was a very practical lesson. And there's one thing I wanted to run by you guys to see what you thought. And our listeners who are involved in church work will be interested in this as well. What's the hardest thing to get your visitors to do?
Give you their information, name, phone
Exactly.
number, address, contact info.
Right. And we've tried all kinds of methods. You know, we've done the little blue cards in the back of the pew. We've done information cards that we wanted everybody to fill out. And the only reason we had our members fill them out is to put peer pressure on the visitors
We've
to
done
fill them out.
the QR code,
QR code is what we do now, plus other ways.
like standing next to them awkwardly saying, will you give me your name, phone number,
That's really the only thing that
date of
works.
birth, social security number, and bank account number. Sorry, we don't go that far.
But you know, I like what we do because the online method, when they fill it out, it automatically emails several people. I can file away in my email the information they give us, which is rarely very much more than an email address, and I have it. But it's not good. Now, this guy was talking about this problem, and he said, Dad, correct me if I'm wrong, he said he might get 1 out of 10 visitors to fill out a card,
Right,
something like
right,
that.
Yeah.
They do the digital thing as well. And so he said, so here's what I've started doing. And he walked over and he picked up his notebook, portfolio, whatever you want to call it.
His iPad.
Yeah, an iPad or something. And then he put his phone up against it and he put it under his arm. And he had his thumb on top of the camera button for the phone. And he said, this is what I do right here. And he started walking around the room just kind of pointing his notebook with the camera on it at different people. And then he flipped a slide, and in the slide were these
Candid pictures.
Yeah,
of
thank you.
people.
Candid pictures of people that didn't know they were being photographed at his church.
So he was taking
just-
pictures, not video, though.
Right.
Well,
Stills.
what's the difference?
Well, I was just, I mean,
So he had
I think if
pictures
you're
of people-
recording someone, you have to make them aware they're being recorded. That's
Well, I think for photo. Okay, Patrick has got to weigh in on this.
I think expectation of privacy is zero when you're out in public.
Okay, well, we are on camera all the time in
are.
this guy's defense.
We are.
Now, I messed this story up because I wanted to say before I told you all that earlier in the day, he texted me a picture of myself sitting in the conference. So I believe he has a bit of a problem, you know.
Can he tell you were
beyond-
playing solitaire?
No, because I was not.
Okay,
playing
good. I was
solitaire.
just checking. That was a test. Now, what conference
Intently.
was it?
I'm
say.
leaving it nameless.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Because I want to protect the anonymity of this guy in
That's
case
true.
one of his visitors is listening.
Is a passenger.
I don't want them to know that he takes these serendipitous, that's not the right word.
No.
Surreptitious?
Yeah.
Candid.
Yeah.
Dad had it right. Candid pictures of these people.
So
and
what's
then that
the
helps
purpose,
him.
right? He just
Well,
so,
then
so
he
he remembers
still
that
doesn't have
person
their
was-
name.
Yeah.
So
Well, he
I-
says then he sends a text message to someone who's sitting near those folks that he took pictures of.
Right, yeah.
And he says in the text message, speak to that person that's sitting right in front of you, or
Did you say this was the preacher of
yes.
the congregation he's at? How does he have that much time during services?
Well, he's doing this before and after services.
Okay.
My earlier comment about expectation of privacy, I mean, they're, legal versus creepy. I was not trying to defend him in any way. Just
Yeah.
Well, I'm not
Well, you're right,
necessarily
though. And
criticizing. I'm just
he's
wondering.
he's really only doing it like to sort of collect that piece of information and then pass it on to somebody nearby or whatever, right? It's not like that's going to end up necessarily in the church files, I'm guessing, right? He's doing it to.
I ended
Maybe.
up on a screen at a conference with a bunch
That's a
of
good point.
people.
But it.
Retract my previous
So
thought.
if I'm sitting there in
I
the
don't
pew,
know if he's keeping them or not.
if
but-
I'm sitting there in the pew and I get a message from Drew and it's a picture of the person sitting maybe diagonally up in front of me, and it's like, talk to this person. I already have stranger danger. But now feeling pressure to have to talk to this person, I'm shutting down. That does not work well for my personality type.
Well, and it has something to do with trying to get their contact information, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't clear about how that translated over to having the contact information.
Jason, I don't think you or I or who Drew is texting.
That's
As the most socially awkward people in the room, that's not happening.
I was beginning to think that maybe like he took the picture and
biggest
then he
introverts
like
here.
looked it up in Chat GPT, and the next thing you know, he has
He
has
did
the
say,
information.
he
That's
did
not a
say
bad
that he'll
idea.
look them up on Facebook to
Yeah,
get as
yeah,
much
he-
information about them
yeah.
as he can. And then message them on Facebook because people are so reluctant to give any contact information.
Now,
So-
we had a guest speaker a couple of weeks ago here during our Wednesday night series that said that they, like if they have a visitor and they can't take the visitor out, they try to find a member of the church there to take the visitor to lunch.
yeah.
That if I'm visiting somewhere and that happens, I feel really awkward. So I don't know that I would feel comfortable doing that. But it is a problem trying to get visitors to commit to giving you contact information so we can follow up. When I visit other churches, I always give them my contact information. I'm Tim Layton and I live on Oliver Road.
I may or may not have got some interesting thank you cards along the way.
That is my go-to when I travel is I'm always Tim Layton.
Appreciate
One of
that.
the
Not church related, but when we go to conferences for work, we will carry other people's business cards, and you go around the expo hall, entering raffles and whatnot. But it also gives them your contact. We'll drop other people's business cards.
Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah,
You probably shouldn't have told that on this nationwide
anymore.
broadcast.
Yeah.
Now,
Our
you
40
mentioned
listeners are
something.
gonna hear that.
This speaker brought this up too. He said their elders will make gift cards available, I guess, in a secure location for people who know where they are. If a visitor comes, they encourage them to grab a gift card to Chili's or whatever and take the visitor out to lunch.
I think that's great.
You know, they're trying to do things. And
I
that's,
think
that's
you have
great.
people that have the personality type that can very much do that.
Mhm.
I just don't know that the two of us on this side of the table are those people.
Well, it takes all kinds to make the world go round.
And you know, to some degree, you have to try to gauge that person a little bit.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
is that person going to be, you know, are they going to be excited by someone, you know, engaging with them in that way, or is it just going to totally freak them out? And
Yeah. We could just take the reins off Jimmy Pullum. I mean, that guy's like a spastic butterfly during after service, bouncing from person to person. So
He does a great
He
he
job.
does a great job. How I dodged that, you know, my oldest son got his ability to talk to strangers and be completely comfortable with
He's a
that.
spitting image of your
But
dad.
it skipped me completely. But I'm glad my oldest son has that because that's a beneficial characteristic to have.
I hope that
Dad,
Jimmy,
I'm sorry I called you a spastic
I hope
butterfly.
Jimmy's going to rub off on me in that way, because I spend too much time asking Drew, who are we talking about? Right. And it's like, no, we got to figure that out in a hurry. Right. So,
Jimmy, the views of your son do not represent the views of the rest of us.
That's right.
So
Disclaimer.
our Christmas presents aren't in danger this year, right? As long as they're not a fruitcake.
What do y'all do, Dad? Do y'all use cards?
Yes, we try, but of course they don't fill them out.
Right. Yeah.
We try. We use the visitors' cards. We also have members to fill out cards. Hopefully, as members are filling out their cards, visitors will see that and look on
That's
the
the
back
main
and fill
reason.
them out as well. So
That's the main reason you have the members do it.
we have one or two every week, but it's not nearly all the visitors who are there. They don't fill cards out.
I just say something at the beginning of each service. You can help us out a little by giving us some information. Helps us to get to know you better. And that's truly what the main thing is. If I have a card on somebody, it's just so much easier to remember their name the next time I see them.
Well, what we don't do that we should do is to hand that person a card and
Yeah.
a pen and say, "Would you please fill it
Yeah.
out?" We're just not pushy,
Yeah.
but that would be better.
Have we ever thought about just placing the QR codes in conspicuous places where people
What's the
can see
QR
it?
code?
So
What
they
is it?
scan it and it sends them to the online registration.
So
Oh,
we
okay.
have like a lead-in slide when Drew gets up that has that QR code on
Yeah,
it, and they
okay.
can just hold their phone up
Right.
and
Well,
and grab it. Yeah.
I didn't know where it took
And then it takes you
That's
to
what
a little form, a little visitor,
Okay,
online visitor
okay.
card.
Well, that's
Jason, are the
Yeah.
screens at the very front not conspicuous enough?
Well, but you know,
But it's only up there for a few seconds, Patrick.
It is true.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's up there for
Y'all are going to.
It's up there for a lot of the announcements too.
Don't fight
Well,
over
if
the
it's up
microphone.
there, if it's up there for the entire announcements, it's up there for
Why
at
do we
least
talk
32
about the
minutes.
announcements every single week?
Maybe 31 minutes.
I feel like this is unnecessary, and
Who makes the announcement?
it's me.
Brother Layton.
and they're not nice about
know.
it.
Technically, he just reports the announcements, all
Now-
of them.
Now Andy got to hear it tonight, and I didn't. He can tell that is a small excerpt of all the things that are going on at Asheville Road.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, you
right.
didn't
I'm
read the
sure.
exact verses for the weekly Bible reading out loud, but you were close.
I appreciate the
Monday-
time you gave me.
You keep it up, and I'll be like, Monday, Judges 14 through 16. Tuesday, Judges 17 through 19. You watch.
I'm sorry, Tim. I'm stepped on a nerve tonight. I apologize.
It's all right.
But I was glad we went to the conference. Even that
It was
I'm not,
great.
I'm not criticizing that lecture.
No,
it was very
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
It was validating. This guy was from what most people regard a successful congregation, and to hear that he struggles with the same things we struggle with regard to trying to encourage visitors and not run them off in doing so, it was validating. It was encouraging to hear that it's not just a problem here.
I do have a question about something you said in your introduction of your dad tonight before he spoke, though. Was that the first time he had heard about the plan of y'all spending the night Friday night on your way up north?
Almost. I didn't tell him
close.
to.
Yeah, it's close.
I was going to say that was the
like,
equivalent
yesterday.
of that was the equivalent of our kid coming up and asking if a kid can spend the night at our house while the person's standing right there. So
It's not quite that bad. That
it was-
is the worst.
it was pretty close to it, though. I wonder if he told Andy about that plan before he said that from the
Mentioned it
from the-
yesterday.
Okay, good.
Well, you know. I did say if you're not doing anything.
It's April in Alabama, and that means it's tornado season. You know, we get to spend a lot of time listening to James Spann or whoever else you might listen to if you don't love the Lord.
Fear-mongering the
You know,
people.
I mean, you know, James is sort of the guy that helps us all out. So I was just thinking about because it's been sort of active already, and there's been 2 or 3 different waves of tornadoes that come in. I think there was some up next to Andy.
We had some close.
Right. And I think Selmer, Tennessee, I think on Sunday I heard some folks lost their homes, and it was pretty rough up there. And, you know, we've even had one of those days where they said, hey, this is lining up to be really bad. Fortunately, it wasn't quite as bad, but it was bad for some people. So I just wanted to sort of open it up because for all of us that have lived in Alabama, you know, a good chunk of our lives, everybody has sort of a tornado story that's sort of memorable to them. So I was going to start, and then y'all just sort of throw in nights or times that are memorable to you related to tornadoes blowing through. I know Andy's lived in Florence and Haleyville. A lot of times you'll hear about Haleyville. These tornadoes are very interesting in Alabama, that they just develop paths and they just
They
seem
hate
to,
Haleyville.
you know, in Haleyville, you know,
Haleyville, Hamilton, Phil Campbell,
Hackleburg.
You hear all of those
That's
cities
right.
every time
That's
we have
right.
a storm.
And, you know, and so we know if you hear Tuscaloosa and that path, you know, that it's coming up our way. And so, you know, we all know that, hey, that one sounds like it's, you know, coming toward us. My first memory related to tornadoes, I was 8 years old, and it was in 1974. And it was one of these sort of like, we can probably all remember some big nights of tornadoes in Alabama. Probably the most recent one, April 27th, 2011, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, came through Tuscaloosa. That was really bad. But this one in 1974 was in April. I think it was like April 4th, and it blew away the town of Guin up in Northwest. Is that Northwest?
No, it's south of Haleyville.
Is it south of Haleyville? Okay.
Yeah.
So, but still over sort of in that area. Right.
Yeah,
And so,
right.
because isn't there Guin and then
Guin,
Guin,
right.
right? These two towns that are right next to each other, right?
Yeah, Guin and then GU-WIN.
Right. That are just right next to each other.
Yep.
So it blew Guin away. And so it was one of these like terrible nights. And the thing that I remember most about that night was that I think I saw Johnny Carson for the first time ever, right? Because I was normally in bed long before Johnny Carson came on. And it might have been like it was for most of our lives, where like you got to see maybe 2 episodes of MASH, and then Johnny Carson really came on in our area at like 11:30 at night. So, and then I remember seeing Country Boy Eddie the next morning. And so if you know about Alabama, so on the ABC affiliate, like 5 o'clock every morning, Country Boy Eddie comes on, right? And so, you know, he was a Alabama institution. He could do a mule call or something, and then he would have these country singers on. And so, you know, he had quite a show before like the morning news. And so I remember seeing both of those. We stayed up all night long, right? You know, watching these tornadoes. And it was because of that night that one of the elders at Munford, Brother Roy Lackey, built what I would consider the Taj Mahal of storm shelters in Alabama, like just right up the road from us. And so, because, you know, everybody got so scared about it, and he decided to do something about it. And so he had one of these spots in his basically sort of side yard where he had a driveway and the land sort of dropped off, and he basically just built this shelter into the side of that hill. He sort of dug it out, put in everything, reinforced it, vented it out, whole 9 yards. And basically, and he poured a driveway up to it. So like older people could literally pull down to it. And it wasn't like most storm shelters where you pull the shutters out and walk. You walked straight into this thing. It was built into the side of the hill. I mean, it was the best, right? And so if we could ever talk my grandmother into it's time for us to go to the storm shelter, which was always a war, she's like, it's not going to do anything. Yeah. And my mom wouldn't go because she was not going to, go be in a storm shelter when my grandmother got blown away.
Right.
Right. And so
it'd be hard to live that
right.
down.
I mean, that's a tough one, right?
If grandmother wasn't going, nobody was going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so grandmother's right across the street from us, of course. And so there was always a debate until it was about time for us to get blown away. Right. And so, basically, the best we could tell at that point, it's coming right for us. And then we jump in the car, right? So, so
this right when the tornadoes
for our younger
across.
listeners, this was pre-Polygon.
Yeah.
This was listen for the siren.
Pre a
That's
lot of
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So
no sirens.
probably
Were there sirens?
May not have been.
Not in Munford.
This was listen
No.
for the train sound.
This
and
was
then run.
This was listening to one of the 3 channels that we got, and they said tornado warning for Talladega County, and off we went.
Yeah.
So that was my first memory. So somebody else throw one out.
Well, it was Mary Jane's birthday was yesterday, April the 8th. And always bad weather in Haleyville on her birthday.
Yeah.
But the kids came. The kids would come to visit for her birthday. And everybody was there except Mackenzie and Ray. And they were on their way to Ripley. But the weather got so bad, they decided they shouldn't go because they were driving right into this front that was bringing the tornadoes in. And so he called, and I was kind of watching the weather, and I said, yeah, you better just turn and go north and come on up to our house. And so they did that, but they were getting to our house right at the time the tornado was there. And so they were coming through the back road because they had taken this detour from the road to Ripley. And it was so bad, and the tornado was so bad, Mackenzie was saying, I'm going to have to just pull over and get in that ditch, Ray. We're just going to have to get in the ditch. And so he was looking for a good ditch to get into, and there's no power. Electricity's gone. Tornado's on us. Electricity's completely gone. But he saw a house in the darkness, and he pulled in the driveway. When he pulled into the driveway, there was a woman at the front door with the door open, yelling, come on, come on. Wow. Total strangers, had no idea where he was or who they were. But she rushed them in her house, and they stayed in there until the worst of it left. And then they came on up to our house. But when they were kind of hunkered down there, I got a call from the youth minister where I preached. And he said, hey, Andy, are you all right? And I said, sure. Yeah. Well, to back up a little bit, we lived on this creek bank. And so it was down. I mean, there were ridges all around it, higher elevation all around it. So we were down on the creek bank, the house was. And so he called and he said, Andy, are you all right? And I said, yeah, we're fine. Why not? Why? He said, because I'm looking at the weather and the radar right now, and there's a tornado on your house, right over your house. And it did, but how tornado, and low spots are protected. So it just jumped over us and skipped right over the house. And then after it blew over, then Mackenzie and Ray made it. But that was pretty scary. And that was on Mary Jane's birthday on April the 8th.
Wow. Could you see the trees? Was there trees on your land that were
I
twisted
wasn't
up
looking.
or whatever?
You mean damage?
Like damage?
No,
it stayed up.
Yeah, it stayed up. It just kind of jumped. They'll skip. It just evidently kind of skipped from one ridge to the other and then went on. But no, it didn't damage any trees on our property or anything. I found a lot on the back deck the next morning. I found a lot of insulation from somebody's house was on our back deck. So the tornado went over, it kind of dropped all that stuff on the deck.
There were a lot of mobile homes around that area.
Yeah.
James Spann talks about that debris ball, right, that it's carrying along or whatever. Yeah.
So if y'all will allow me, I've got 2 stories I can mention. One of them is a tornado. One of them is a hurricane. So in 1993, I think, Hurricane Opal came up through Georgia from the Gulf Coast, and we lived on about 14 acres of just completely wooded property. I mean, we maybe had an acre of grass to cut, maybe, but it was all wooded property. A lot of big trees around the house, and we knew it was going to be bad. It was the weirdest storm I've ever experienced. It's thundering and lightning, and the wind is blowing so hard. It's just whistling through the trees. I mean, literally whistling through the pines. And so Mom is terrified of storms. In fact, we're supposed to have a little severe weather tomorrow afternoon. She's probably already got her bicycle helmet on, prepared for it tonight. She is terrified, and partly because of this storm. So we go down to the basement, and we lived in the middle of nowhere. So, I mean, a strong breeze, our power would go out. So the power had already gone out. And of course, we're down there with candles and flashlights. And all of a sudden, the house just shudders. It was the craziest thing. We hear a crash and could physically feel the house shudder. And you don't know what's happening. We're in the basement. So we let time go by, and we go upstairs, and we start, walking around with a flashlight and candles looking for damage. And 2 big trees, giant oak trees, had fallen onto the house on the end where the garage was and just demolished the garage. I mean, just tore the garage all to pieces. But that was the first time I ever really started to fear severe weather, because it was just out of nowhere. And the entire house felt like it was coming off its foundation, and it was just a big tree hitting the house. But I don't know how much damage. It took them a while to get it fixed. Dad had a 1936 Ford parked in the garage and was very frustrated because luckily the car was not damaged very bad, but it broke one tip of the V8 logo off the hood. And those things were really, really hard to find replacement parts for. So, but I remember that was, like I said, I was younger when that happened. The second one happened on February, like 26th or 7th of 2014. About a week before I was leaving to go to Peru. So it was one of those nights where your typical early spring, late winter line of storms coming through, no tornado warnings, maybe a watch out. You're not worried about it. So we had gone to bed like most normal people do at, 10:30, 11 o'clock. I want to say it was a Wednesday or a Thursday night that it happened. But anyway, that it doesn't really matter what night it happened. I just remember missing work that day. But we were awakened. I'm so worried about my grammar right now. I have you two men sitting on my right and my left, and I'm just waiting on me to say,
just let it flow.
I was awakened while I was lying in bed. Did I say that right? While I lie in
While
bed?
I lay.
Wow. Oh, I knew I was going to get it wrong. I
should've just
knew it
kept
was going to get it wrong.
Back to the story.
But I was awakened to the sound of crashing noise, breaking things, and rocks hitting the back of the door between our bedroom and the bathroom. Of course, the power is out, and we knew something drastic had happened. So we just assume it's a tornado, no sirens, no warning or anything. So this happened, and instantly I thought it hit the side of the house the kids are on. So I ran upstairs to get them. They were young when this happened. So I grabbed them and I run downstairs. Thankfully, they never woke up. We take them to the basement, and Cassie and I then start investigating what's going on. And we open the bathroom door going from the master bedroom into the bathroom, and there are bricks and pine tree parts and glass and studs and rock, and a tree had literally been broken off behind the house by this storm. And they ended up classifying it an EF0 tornado. And if an EF0 can do this, I don't want to ever survive or be experiencing an EF4 or EF5. It would be unreal. But it broke a tree off that was as big around as me. I have a picture of me standing near the piece that was in the house. And it didn't lay it on the roof of the house. It threw it like a dart.
It cast it through your house.
And literally stuck a hole in the wall of our closet, and then tore out a big chunk of the corner of the house. It lifted the roof up on that corner. I mean, knocked the power box where the power comes into the house off the house, destroyed a couple of air conditioning vents.
That was just a few years ago, wasn't it? I remember that.
2014. But
This
waking up,
was the Odenville house.
this was the Odenville house. Waking up to the sound of bricks and things like that crashing into your house was a really, really weird experience. And thank goodness. I mean, I think it was Sam's room was, 15 feet from where it poked a hole in the house. So it was a really terrifying night. It was the first time I got on the news. They were interviewing me about the storm, and I did what a friend of mine who now lives up in Tennessee told me to do. They said, well, what was it like? And I said, well, I've always heard it sounded like a train, but I never heard it go, woo, woo. And that was my claim to fame up there. But that was terrifying. So I am very respectful now of the Polygon, even though I think James spanned fearmongers. You hear me, James. I do think I pay attention to the weather now. I don't go to sleep until the line has passed because I don't want to deal with that anymore. So
the views expressed by Jason Pullum about James Spann are not those of the other host of Passages.
A national treasure. Jason, I really want to play the video of that's only in the morning.
yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I'll have to find the part where they're talking about whistle tips that they put on car mufflers, and the character they interview is pretty funny about it.
Tell me about the whistles.
The whistles go woo.
Anybody that has it in their neighborhood is going to be totally driven crazy. It sounds like what?
When you want to woo woo, it's that woo woo. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the flows. They didn't trip out the flow masters.
That decoration, man. It's just for decoration. That's it. And that's all, man. We do it for decoration.
You have it on your car?
Yeah, I got it on my car.
At one point they talk about
I've never seen that
they're
before.
up for breakfast, and that's only in the morning when it goes woo woo.
Yeah. And I can honestly say the tornado does not sound like that. It does not go woo woo.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if it did, but it does not. It does sound like the roaring of a train. If you've ever sat at a railroad track and heard a train go by and the kind of roaring sound, it's got a very similar sound to that. I will give it that. That's all I got. Patrick.
I don't have any crazy tornado memories. The only real tornado anything that's ever happened to us was the 2011 tornadoes, the April ones.
That happened to everybody in the state. Just about,
yeah. Amy and I were living in our first little garden home, and it passed about a mile maybe north of us. The actual tornado did, but the only damage in the neighborhood was our little twig tree was snapped in half in the front. You know, those little bitty twigs they put as trees for garden homes, snapped in half.
Your Bradford pear.
I don't think it was a Bradford pear. This was a really small tree, but the one time I have had a tree fall in the house was not related to a tornado, but it was just a normal night, like tonight, where it's just calm and still. And Amy and I are, I don't know, it's 11 o'clock. We're trying to go to sleep. And all of a sudden we just hear this explosion in the house. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. It sounded like something exploded. So we get sort of, alarmed and are awakened to this. And I'm walking around the house wondering if I should get my gun, kind of thing. Cause, somebody bust a door down or whatever. And I mean, for 30 minutes, I'm walking around the house looking for, did the hot water, you can't say hot water heater, did the water heater? Now you got me all paranoid, Jason.
Dad would have busted you on that one.
It's terrifying.
Did the water heater explode? Did we have gas? Did somebody leave the oven on? And so right before I'm about to get back in bed and just chalk it up to, I don't know, maybe we just had the same dream or something. I shined the flashlight accidentally around our bathroom that has frosted windows in it. And one window catches my eye because it doesn't look like a normal dark window. And there's a bunch of leaves up against it that I could only see when I shine the flashlight on it. So I go outside and a tree is falling on our house, not like through it. It fell kind of beside it and took a gutter off, but didn't go through the roof or anything. And I have no idea why it fell. It just, this tree just said, I'm done. And
It wasn't rotten or dead.
so the tree is actually still up and has most of its limbs. It dropped at the very top. It splits. I think the arborist among us, they call it bifurcates.
No lightning?
Nothing. I mean, you could see stars that night, and it just split at the top, like one big branch trunk went this way and the other one went this way, and one of those just said, I'm done, fell off,
Gave it up. Drew, you got anything?
I'm texting my wife right now, so if y'all could just wait.
Well, So, in
Well,
terms,
I can't be afraid of storms. Something's wrong with me, maybe.
I don't get worked up
But
about them either. Amy and the girls will go downstairs, and I'm sitting there watching TV. I mean, until I hear the train noise, I just kind of.
Well, I don't want to be foolish, but
yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily afraid of them, but I definitely respect them and I'm more aware of them. I don't go to bed until the line is through and I make sure we're safe, especially now because we've got the added benefit. See how positive I'm being there? The added benefit of now having a couple of horses and a lot of chickens and a bunch of fence lines. So now I'm also worried about not just trees on the house, but if something comes down and the horses are getting out, because I've had the police wake me once before knocking on the door because a horse was out. And
because your horse was hanging out at Moody High School.
Yeah, he decided to walk a couple miles down the road.
Yeah.
They could trail him.
So, in terms of like the ones, we've had a couple of events in the time that I've lived here that have been fairly close. So one of them, I was just looking up, I think I've got this right, was in 1998, and it's the one that blew away Bethel Baptist Church in a large church on the street here in Moody, and it was a big one.
It did damage to the property we live on now, actually. That's if you come to our property and look, there's a lot of trees that have been topped, and that was the same storm.
And then I think it was that night that Millie and I were in the hallway of our house with a mattress over our head. I mean, it was really, really scary and bad that night. The other one, normally we vacate, Casa de Layton over here, the garden home with no basement or no real interior room either.
I think you've been to our house at least once.
Been to your house. Recently we went to the Brooks house. We'll sometimes come up here to the church building. That begs the question of, does it make sense to come to this church building? Because everything's on a slab. But we, it does have somewhat of an interior room. So, we've ended up,
it's safer than Casa La Layton.
We've set out, a couple of things like in the old kitchen here, cause it's fairly interior.
Yeah.
The one that hit like Hunter Kennemer's house, you were working that night, right? I think, and we were here.
Yeah, I sat under my desk in the floor that night.
As James Spann said, it's going down 78 in Leeds, and I'm like, Jason is at his office, which is on 78 in Leeds.
Yeah, that was a pretty strong storm that came through, and it came right over where we were, or where I was. I was up there working late one evening, but I just went and got in one of the interior rooms and sat up underneath the desk.
Yeah,
I ended up driving over to Hunter's house. He was out of town, and after the storm had passed, and sent him a proof of life picture of his house.
Yeah,
because he was really freaking out about it.
He had some damage, right?
That wasn't that long ago.
I don't think he had any damage,
but
to
it
the
was
house.
in that neighborhood. Yeah, it damaged some.
That wasn't that long ago. That was just
No.
a couple of years back. It feels like 3 or 4 years ago. All right, so I want to give just an update on my day to day, and I want to just make a quick health update. So I had a first today. When you turn 45 now, it is normal, or it used to be 50. Now it's 45 that you go and have a colonoscopy done.
Okay, this was going to go one of two ways, Jason. I'm glad it went this way.
This is not going bad. So this was my first. I've always feared it. I've always heard all these awful things about it. I know this is something that you will face at some point.
Which, of course, you're talking about the prep, right?
The procedure. Well, I didn't know what to expect going into it. People have told me, but people exaggerate, and I'm not a very trusting person either. So
there's no exaggeration of the old way.
Well, I don't.
It's much better these days.
Trust
me.
This has been very much refined, hasn't it?
Yes,
they've changed it a lot, I guess. And one of the nice things going in, so I'd gone to the doctor and they were like, "You're old enough, you need to do this screening. So you're gonna prep the day before." And I was like, "This is gonna be awful," and it wasn't fun. It was kind of like a Wednesday night post guad. So it's not totally awful.
So you've been preparing.
I'd been preparing for this for your whole life. But so I'd heard you talk about the stuff you have to drink, Tim, and I was dreading that. And they send me a prescription for 2 bottles of pills. It's like, this is spectacular.
That is great.
So I started at 6 o'clock last night, 12 pills spaced out 2 minutes apart. So, within 25, 30 minutes, I'm done with the pills. The fireworks start. Have to do another round of that. The bad thing was staying up all night. So I had to do another round at 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Did you even have to chase it with a Gatorade or something?
No. Now, they did say you had to drink 16 ounces of water with the first batch of pills, 16 ounces. And they recommended drinking a lot of water. I drank 7 16.5-ounce bottles of water and 2 things of Sprite from 6 o'clock last night to 3 a.m. this morning. I just thought the more hydrated I am, the better this is going to be. It would make it just easier. And I was hungry.
But
that's why I added the Sprites.
But that wasn't part of the requirement, because in the old days,
they just said three
a whole lot of
16 ounces per round of pills is what they recommended.
All right.
I went overboard because why not? And I was hungry, and I feel like if I had something on my stomach, it would at least. But I got to the place this morning, and, they say I have not had anesthesia in my adult life. So I was a kid the last time I was put under for a surgery. So I went in and they were like, it's going to be a piece of cake. We're going to tell you, they're going to say, you're going to feel a little relaxed, and then you'll wake up in recovery. And me being a little skeptical of what people tell me, I was like, I'm going to see how long I can fight this anesthesia.
Yeah, there's no fighting it.
So I heard her say, things are going to get you're going to feel real relaxed, and then you're going to wake up in recovery. And I was like, it won't happen that fast. So I actively was lying there on my side in the bed, ready to go. She said, okay, you're going to start feeling a little drowsy. Here comes the medication. And I was like, I am not going to sleep. I'm going to see how this goes. And then I noticed that my vision went double. And then the next thing I know, I was waking up in recovery, and they were like, you want something to drink? And I was like, yes. How about a ginger ale? And then how about I ended up getting 3 ginger ales and a take-home cup. I played that card very, very well. It probably cost me $10 a ginger ale.
Yeah, that's showing up on the bill.
That's going to be
You'll
in the
see
bill.
those later.
But folks that are afraid of it, go get screened. Make sure you don't have colon cancer or something like that going on. I think it's really important. And look, I've heard horror stories. I was a little apprehensive about doing it, nervous. It was not as bad as I expected it to be. Simple process. And I got to go eat breakfast immediately after, where I had 2 very delightful pancakes and a few eggs scrambled. So,
well, listen, I've had a few.
Yeah.
And I understand that the anesthesiologist, or I've been told, does not put you completely under.
Yeah, it's not like general anesthesia.
Yeah. No, it's not like general anesthesia.
That's what they gave me, yeah.
And yet,
It's like
I love it. It's the best sleep I've ever had.
I was when I woke up in recovery, I was disappointed. I was like, oh no, I wanted to hit the snooze. 10 more minutes, Dad. 10 more minutes.
Well, when I leave there, I go home and go back to sleep.
That's what I did.
Another few hours.
Propofol has kind of, there's not like you're not hungover afterward. No. General anesthesia.
Eating breakfast, I felt great. Yeah. And then I went home and slept for about 4 hours, and I felt, I'm feeling energized. Yeah. I'm sure that'll change it.
And I'm told also that there's some kind of something in it that gives you amnesia.
Yeah.
Which is
good. What you've been through.
I was happy for amnesia. Yeah.
Because the last one I had, it's been quite a while now. I said, I asked when I woke up, I was dressed.
Yeah.
Yep.
I said, who dressed me? And they said, you did. I said, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And that time I just wore my house shoes, and they say wear loose clothing and all that stuff. Yeah. So I just wore my house shoes, and my house shoes had leather laces, which I never tied because leather laces won't stay tied.
Yep.
So I just never tied them. And they were tied.
Oh, yeah.
And so I said, who dressed me? And I was told, well, you dressed me. I said, I didn't tie these shoes. I never tie these shoes.
That's the way I always feel after going to the dentist and them having to put me under gas for a little bit. I'm like, who dressed me after this? No, I'm just kidding. That's never happened at the dentist.
Jason, I've had propofol one time in my adult life. And if you start reading online about this stuff, because you've never had it before, never had a procedure that needed it before, you will start getting into this whole thing of redheads need more to actually knock them out. And I was skeptical of that, because I mean, come on, that's got to be some kind of myth or folk tale or something. But as a former redhead that still has some red hair, I get there and Is it an anesthesiologist that administers the propofol?
It was I had a CRNA.
Okay,
that
so
did
the CRNA or whoever was administering the shot of propofol looked at me and said, "Oh, I'm going to need another syringe," and turns around and gets one. And so I guess I got 2 that day. Because as a redhead, I don't react to it the same way other people do.
Patrick, you did say something that I want to discuss with you.
Let's do it.
So it's like being a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Once a ginger, always a ginger. So you are still a ginger.
I self-identify as a ginger.
Okay, you should.
The problem is
not as redheaded as I used to be.
The problem is the hair of my neck and above is not red anymore, or as red as. And if you don't look really close,
I see the red.
I'm still a redhead, very much so.
We'd prefer not to see the rest.
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make that clear. So, you don't have to prove anything.
So back to the pills, because so I've had a couple of colonoscopies. I just scheduled one this week. It's past time for me to have another one, especially because my mom passed with colon cancer, and so
kind of an important thing.
It is important, and it is what they say pretty much 100% preventable.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, get those polyps out, whole 9 yards there. Hope that I haven't waited a little longer than I should have or anything like that. But it's definitely preventable. The first episode that I ever had with that prep was going over on a Wednesday night, and my mom she was prepping for maybe her very first one. It might've been when they
discovered it.
When they found the cancer, and what she had were 2 gallons of something called Go Lightly.
Oh, they've been there, man.
And nobody goes lightly on that stuff.
She was maybe 30 or 45 minutes into those 2 gallons, and when I walked in the door, she was crying.
Oh,
because it was
so
killing her already, and. Did
it cause stomach cramping and stuff like that?
It was bad. Yeah. It was bad. And, you would take it was not a lot at a time. So but it was like every 15 minutes or something. I remember her, she was a very compliant person, right? If the instructions were to do this, she would do it.
Yeah.
I clearly remember her taking the last glass of it and throwing it out the front door of the house. She was like,
sounded like the best thing to do.
I cannot do this anymore. And so that prep, one of the last times I did it, I think, it was like 2 Gatorades or something, that I did along with the prep or something, but I mean, it's that part of it is so much improved.
It is. And I never had any stomach pain, stomach cramping.
That's good.
It was just
you give me you make me feel good about it.
It was a moving experience, but it was not a painful experience.
Yeah.
So I was hoping,
important.
Jason, I appreciate your ability to always bring up toilet related items.
But we
always talk.
But I want to say I was proud of myself. I actually was very mature throughout this whole thing.
You were very mature.
I have reined myself in.
I did catch your final statement where you used the word moving.
Yeah, it was a moving experience. But I really, I told Cassie I was going to bring
the
up
fact that he just said rain.
Yeah,
but
I told Cassie that I was going to bring this up tonight, and that I was going to be mature about it. So
I will
when she listens,
I will give you that.
She's going to be so proud because I don't think she thought I could do that. So let me be immature for a minute.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay. So I found this article, and I was really hoping Drew would be here because he hadn't heard this yet, and I wanted him to hear it, but he can listen to it when the podcast comes out. So there was a Georgia suspect that was arrested for $20,000 in Walmart shoplifting spree. I'm going to read you some of the article. This is I found it on Not the Bee, which is an excellent website if you're looking for funny articles. Tim, don't go there because then you'll be
Not
sharing.
the Bee is articles that sound like satire but are actually
actually real, and that's where I found this. And then I went to the New York Post where it was a little more written out. It reads, "It's a loony coincidence. An alleged serial shoplifter with a bizarre name was arrested and charged with stealing over $20,000 of merchandise from Walmart stores across northern Georgia. This person, 40 years old, was accused of placing pricey items into a cheap container at the self-checkout, but only scanning the inexpensive large item without scanning the smaller items hidden inside. Nicotine, gum, diabetic strips, high-priced items, although smaller in nature, the police person said. He would then pick out an item from the shelf, such as a trash can. In one instance, it was a mailbox. Take all those items, stick it into the box with the larger item, and then take that and pay for it and walk out of the store. This trick allowed him to walk away with much more than he paid for, but the police caught him on his alleged crimes and arrested him 10 days after another alleged theft. Now, what's interesting about this guy is that first the police were able to catch him, and you'll know why in just a second, because when they interviewed him, there's a little clip that they played of the interview. This is what it sounded like.
Ole, arriba, epa, arriba, andale.
Now, let me reread the title of the story with name inserted. Georgia suspect named Speedy Gonzalez arrested for a $20,000 Walmart shoplifting spree. His name is Speedy Gonzalez, and he was caught by the police. Number one, Sylvester the cat could never catch Speedy Gonzalez.
No.
So how can the police catch Speedy Gonzalez?
I'll tell you how. It's a Crime Stoppers call from Slowpoke Rodriguez.
That is, he's like, hey, Speedy, you've been stealing. But I saw that article and I thought, I have to bring it tonight and I need a clip because that as a child was one of my favorite cartoons. We watched that one and the Roadrunner. Those were two of the best cartoons ever written.
I liked them a lot better than Bugs Bunny.
I did too. They were funny.
Gonzalez and Roadrunner.
They had humor. They had multiple characters. And when I read that, I was a little disappointed that somebody named Speedy Gonzalez was stealing, which he did steal from cheese factories all the time, but he would never get caught. You remember he'd like run past Sylvester and run up his chest and it would like peel the hair off of Sylvester the cat. I was a little disappointed when I see that he is now tied to a crime ring.
All right. So how does he get out of Walmart, right? Because, I mean, the method you talk about is the one thing they will always check in Walmart. But
I will tell you this.
A big box or a trash can, they always pop it open to see if there's anything inside, right?
But they can't necessarily always stop them. So I ran into this at a local farm supply store about 3 miles north of here up 411. We were in there one day and this lady was just walking out of there with stuff. And store management was not allowed to stop them. Could not. I mean, they were getting video, of course. They saw what she drove. They made a police call, police report. But the staff was not allowed to hinder this person from leaving. And one of the employees was really mad about it. He was like, people do this all the time.
It's liability, though.
It is, because if they get injured trying to stop them, it's a problem.
So basically, like those people, they're checking, they're doing that as a deterrent. But if they find something and that person
you just walk out
or whatever,
I think you also are not legally required to stop for the receipt checker at Walmart, like you are at Sam's. Because at Sam's, when you get a membership, you kind of agree you will let them check it. But at Walmart, you've paid for it; it is legally yours, and you can walk out.
And if they say, "Can I check your receipt?" you can say no.
Nope.
And just keep walking.
Thanks for asking.
And I've learned too that if I get a 6-pack of Diet Dr. Peppers or 5 of them, and I don't put them in bags, they're going to check my receipt. But if I put them in bags, they never check a receipt.
That's exactly true. You can bag up a whole.
The
grocery cart.
self-checkout allows people, I think, enables people to get kind of sticky fingers about taking stuff and putting it in the bag and just dropping it in there because they're not checking receipts. Now, it may come back. It sounds like this came back to haunt this guy, that they caught him. And I would think $20,000 worth of theft is probably a felony level theft.
I have heard of Target, Walmart, those kind of places. They will allow you to steal things until you reach sort of that felony level or whatever grand theft, whatever kind of level it is. And then they'll call the police after they have a bigger case on you.
But I don't know.
That might be a conspiracy theory.
Would that be a cumulative thing?
Yeah,
like we've got him 4 times.
As long as they hold
film.
the evidence. Yeah.
I was very disappointed that Speedy Gonzalez got caught though, but what a parent for naming their child Speedy Gonzalez.
Now, if Drew were here, he would quote Chris Farley and say, El Nino, if you don't speak Spanish, means the Nino.
The Nino. That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. That's like I like La Fiesta in Hoover, one of my favorite Mexican restaurants, and I just refer to it as the Fiesta. And it's a very similar thing.
Is that a sister restaurant to what was Villa Fiesta in Irondale?
Oh, I don't know. No, I don't think so.
This is a one of a kind in Hoover.
Better or
La
worse?
Fiesta.
You ever been there? You've never been there? Oh, we have to go there as a group. We may have to take this show on the road.
Do you think they'd let us film?
So
Do you think they would let us record an episode?
Yeah, you just have to get used to the yeah going on in the background. But the first time I ate there, Tim was like, I hadn't been living here but maybe a year. Cassie was working in Georgia and not here, and it was a Sunday, and you and Millie were like, come on, we're going to La Fiesta to eat Mexican. And I was like, it's just Mexican. Why don't we go? They're like, no, there's nothing like La Fiesta Mexican food. And I have to admit, it's good food.
It is good.
I like that place.
As a tag-on story to your Looney Tunes article, Warner Brothers is demolishing the Looney Tunes studio building on their set, the set or whatever, where they made Looney Tunes for all the years they made them.
Which is criminal.
It's kind of sad.
Why isn't that becoming a museum?
I don't know.
And why do you need a set for an animated show?
Do you think they could make Looney Tunes again today?
They could not make Speedy Gonzales.
No.
And I doubt they would make the Roadrunner because of the violence.
I think kids are, it's a disservice to kids.
Elmer Fudd walking around with that gun. He wouldn't be able
duck
to
season,
do that,
rabbit season,
right?
duck season.
And a speech defect.
That's right. That was being made fun of constantly, right? So, yeah.
All right. Well, I think we can get through our last segment in this segment.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Oh, here we
I
go.
love grinding
What's
of the
grinding
gears.
your gears?
You guys, this is a two-parter. Part A, can we talk about red lights for just a minute?
Sure.
I absolutely hate red lights. I hate them. They are the most inefficient way to move people around, in my opinion. And there's one in particular that makes me literally rage.
So you prefer roundabouts?
I love roundabouts.
Is it in the city?
It is in the city.
If I guess it, will you tell me if I'm right or not?
Absolutely.
Is it the one that on the other side of the bridge getting onto I-20?
No, that's not. That might be my second favorite one, least favorite one, because it's on a timer, and I always drive up to it when it's turning red, trying to get on the interstate. Probably the same thing you're doing,
right?
And it has nothing to do with oncoming traffic, and that is the most horrible.
And it must be 5 minutes that it makes you wait for
like
that light to get onto the interstate. And at 2:00 in the morning, you can sit there for 5 minutes.
So
are you talking the one that lets you onto the interstate going westbound?
Into Birmingham.
Yeah.
So sort of along these lines, the one at Vivian Street, it's over like you're going right before you get to the Big Leeds Park, like you're going 119.
Oh, where the little cut through is that goes to 78?
Yeah. And there's two Mexican restaurants right there to the right. So this one, when I go home tonight, I guarantee you, I would bet money if I were a betting man, which I'm not, that it will turn red before I get to it, and there will not be a single car on the cross street. I cannot fathom why they let these red lights do this.
But you can't put a traffic circle there. You'd have to demolish houses.
That's true.
So what do you do?
But the
Bridge?
But the question is, for that street and that traffic, why is it even there?
Yeah. In the mornings. Have you gone through there in the morning when people are trying to cut through for school traffic?
In the morning
purposes?
is bad coming into Leeds
awful.
because people are turning left to get to 78.
And there's no turn
light.
there's
no turn light. So you end up sitting multiple cycles because the oncoming traffic that's just dropped off at the elementary school will not let people turn for the most part. There's a few people who are good and they'll flash their lights and slow down because they know. But this light has got to go. And I have had irrational thoughts of taking my chainsaw up there and cutting the telephone poles down.
Will you call me before so I can just record it?
Would you come help me?
Well, I'm too young to go to prison.
All right. Second thing that I hate along traffic stop signs. I personally think stop signs should just be yield signs, because what is a yield sign when there's other traffic? A stop sign.
Well, to me, no cop, no stop. So all of them are yield signs.
So on my way to work, I get off. I go 20 into town, and I get off at the last exit before you change onto 59. And I don't go Dead Man's Curve because Tallapoosa Street and Airport and Tallapoosa Street traffic just snarls right there. So I get off on that exit right before, and I go down. I think it's like 5th Avenue that turns into 3rd Avenue or something like that.
Kind of the 1st Avenue North exit.
Yeah, but I don't go over to 1st Avenue. I turn right at the bottom of the exit, and through a little part of Woodlawn, they have done the most infuriating thing I think I've ever experienced in my life.
I know the stretch you're talking about.
And it's called traffic calming is what they've done. They've turned a 4-lane into a 2-lane with bike lanes and parking spaces that took up the other 2 lanes and installed 4 stop signs. So every block for 4 blocks, and they're not like city blocks. They're short,
residential blocks.
Stop sign, stop sign, stop sign. And 2 of them don't really have any reason to stop because they don't have a cross thing. It's like a T, not a plus sign, crossways, or I don't even know if that made any sense.
You painted a word picture. I got
those 4 are the ones that no cop, no stop.
Yeah, I know exactly.
I just pull
I'll
right
slow
through
a little bit down.
Yeah.
I do this.
Yeah.
Now, every now and again, you do this. We're not on camera. The people that aren't in the room can't see. I'm looking around. Every now and again, you do that, and you go ahead and roll through it, and then old blue lights come on right behind you.
Yeah.
And then you have to cry.
Such as the day that I was pulled over in front of my house.
Pulling out. Yeah.
Now, that subdivision stop signs are ridiculous.
Yes. So I came into Oliver Crossing, right? Came to the first stop sign. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday. I was ready to be home. I'm looking, there's no
You're
kids
turning
out.
into fun, Tim, work's over.
Right. It's like, it's all good. And, I just sort of do the glance. There's nobody in the area. I roll right on through there. And then all of a sudden, here's the lights. And it stops me right in front of my house. Millie comes out the front door. Hey, what's going on?
When the cop said, sir, where are you headed? Did you go? Right here.
Right there.
Right there.
See, that should have been a yield sign. No other cars. You get to proceed cautiously through the intersection.
The good people of the Leeds police disagree, however.
Yeah. Well, because it's a stop sign. And
did you cry out your way out of the ticket, or did you get a citation?
I got a citation. I think that was a couple $100.
You must not cry enough, Tim.
That guy couldn't give you a break. You were literally home.
I was home.
You need to be let off with a warning.
You should have got out and ran in the house.
I don't know if I told him.
And then said, if you don't have a warrant, you can't come in. No probable cause. No warrant.
I don't know if
go get a warrant.
I'm sure he saw Millie come out of the house.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude,
now if she had come out there yelling like, "What are you doing with my man?"
Oh, she came out
like a
laughing,
scene from Cops,
laughing and smiling. Hey. What's going on out here?
We have a lot of red lights and things that need to go. But the traffic circles are a little dangerous too. And
that's because we don't have enough of them and people don't know how to use them, but they are the most efficient.
Like, I don't know if you've been through that one where 411 runs into Asheville and crosses with 231. There are some people that come through there and they don't know what they're doing.
Let's be real.
Terrifying.
That's probably the only roundabout in a 100-mile radius. They've never seen it before.
Yeah.
But roundabouts in general, I am a huge fan of because also they feature yield signs where you may proceed if there's no oncoming traffic.
Other countries are fond of them.
Yes,
they are.
They're everywhere.
Other countries.
Yeah. But now when you go through a roundabout, do you blow your horn at people? That's what they do in Peru. They burp, burp. That's how they know you're coming. When I'm going through a roundabout, it's like going through a tunnel. Burp, burp. I'm hitting the horn a lot just to let people know I'm coming through. Flashing the lights.
I do annoy my family, and any new roundabout we find together, I do a full circle on it.
I'm a big fan of that.
Just to appreciate the beauty and the efficiency that is this roundabout.
Georgia is adopting a lot more roundabouts. There's more in where I grew up. All the big intersections now are becoming roundabouts, and I have been known to go around one until somebody points out that I'm not turning out of it just to see how long it takes the family to look up from their phones and notice, like, man, this guy's going in circles.
I'm getting sick, Dad.
Yeah, I would not do that with you in the car, Tim.
Appreciate that.
How many times do you think you could go just by yourself? You could do a roundabout before the police came and were like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Oh, I think I could get 100 laps.
I don't know that that's illegal, but surely someone at some point would report you for just
I think
being
we need
crazy.
The GPS just keeps saying recalculating.
Recalculating.
I think we need to take Jason on the road with passages down to Asheville and see how many times we can get around.
It's like a weird version of a storm chaser.
Yeah. And I'm not going around it fast. I'm going around it at speed limit.
What if he calls in remotely? He's in the roundabout, and we see if we can do the whole podcast with
while
him
he's
going
in the roundabout.
I
like that.
That's a great idea.
Jason, how do you feel about this?
I'm all for it. I don't know many policemen in Nashville though, so I might get a ticket there. Knowing them in the area does help a little bit. Yeah. Well, I guess we should take a pause, and then we'll come back with a bad preacher segment, and I think
hopefully find Drew.
Drew's maybe playing hide and seek with us. I guess we need to go find.
Well, this is
I hope they lock the doors up out there. Though
this is working out because I'm using his mic. So
that is true. But I do miss him being here.
Well, we'll be back in a few.
I got a picture of emotion, portrait of a change, and we'll dance while you burn, yeah. Sing while you strange. I like emotion. I like pain. No one knows.
All right, welcome back. It's time for Bad Preacher. We have a Bad Preacher tonight that was actually submitted to us by one of our passengers. We won't say her name out loud, but we do appreciate it. In fact, if you folks can find some Bad Preacher videos that you want us to do, send them to us. You all, let's be honest, most of our passengers are people we know pretty well. Just text us the link and we'll try to work it into one of the episodes. I don't really have any background to give on this one. Let's just let it speak for itself, Patrick.
Bad preachers. Put your hand on that television set.
And you wouldn't go about establishing your own kingdom in the video room.
Isn't that something called a moshoko domazata?
We've got to cut down.
Could it be?
All right, so I don't have a lot of background on this one. I think it's going to be interesting, Patrick. Let it eat.
Yeah. You want me to start at the feet or you want me to start at the head? Because I'm really wanting to blister some of y'all's haircuts. Amen. That's right. I mean, you're in an independent Baptist church and you got a King James Bible in your hand and you got a contemporary liberal hairdo. What in the world is wrong with you? Would you boys quit trying to look like the world? Hey, you ain't as cool as you think you are. You ain't as tough as you think you are. Or to get you a haircut that's high and tight over your ears and off your collar line and look like somebody that's been to the barber shop instead of the beauty salon.
Let's pause it there for a second.
Amen.
You're not as cool as you think you are. That might have been an Andy Kizer quote one time.
What is a contemporary? Did he say liberal haircut? Contemporary modern haircut?
It was a lot in a short period of time. I'm not sure I caught
that
every
hair
word.
grow over your ears, Jason Pullum, is what it was.
So what is the haircut supposed to look like?
It's amazing how quickly you got into that chant. Man, what a transition.
Yeah. They got to get the cadence going.
They teach that at the independent Baptist schools.
I must.
We've had several bad preachers that have that when they I can't even imitate it where they breathe in at the end of kind of a short statement.
I think it's so they can scream more.
Yeah. That gets me every time. I chuckle every time somebody starts doing that.
I guarantee you're not preaching with a cough drop in and doing that.
Or you got somebody up there that knows Heimlich real quick.
What is an approved haircut, Drew? I mean, we have two. I'm sitting at this table with an elder and two ministers. What is an approved haircut?
Well, we do not have the moral authority to talk because our sons are pretty shaggy.
Well, I mean, but what's he talking about? I mean, I understand you should get back to the barber shop and get out of the beauty salon. That's my favorite line that he says there. That is a good one. I go to a barber shop. Do you go to a salon?
Lady.
Haircut lady. Is it at a salon or is it at a barber shop? Do they have a pole outside that's rotating?
No pole. It's probably more salon.
Are the combs in a clear thing of like blue
Barbicide?
liquid?
Yeah. And there's if I wanted, she would color my hair and give me a perm.
Yeah.
Oh,
But-
Please don't let her color that beautiful
But
ginger
in
hair.
Patrick's defense, he does have hair.
He does have hair.
And
Ours is pretty easy to tame.
So I go to Great Clips. What does that qualify as? That's
Cheap.
a barber, right?
that's a walk-in.
Listen, if all you're
that
doing
explains
is
your
this,
$2 haircut
right?
you've been wearing
How
for
often
years.
do you go to Great Clips?
maybe once every 3 or 4 weeks, something like that.
What?
I mean,
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
He starts looking like a baby bird after about 3 or 4 weeks.
Millie says you're looking like Dilbert's boss. you know what I'm talking about, right? Where it stacks up like this and into like a pyramid or something. And she said it's time to go.
I've told y'all before. I'm every 4 weeks, and I have one lady who has cut my hair since 1998. Met her at I guess it was a Great Clips by Target over in Trussville, and now she's moved several times. But
You knew her when.
I will not let anybody else touch my hair. I've already told her when she retires, I'll pay for her to come to the house and cut the hair in my living room or something, because nobody else does it right.
Yeah.
I do understand the man's frustration, because these guys will not get in the barber chair, and it's a battle to get them to get their hair cut.
Well, eventually though, they see the light, Drew.
Yeah.
We had this battle with my oldest for
Right.
a long time. Taylor, you know who you are. He had
looks
that
phenomenal
long
now.
curly hair that was coming out of they like it when they put on their hat to have that mound of hair piling out of the back. And I kept saying, Taylor, you are following, Taylor, you are not fathering. Taylor, you are following in the footsteps of your father and his father and his father and his father. Your hair is falling out. And when you have hair on the side, a little long hair in the back, and the top's getting thin, you look like a creeper. And one day he listened and he got it cut off short. And he's like, man, I look good. It's like, that's what we've been trying to tell you, son. So I do think as they get older, they see the wisdom of getting a good haircut. But I still have not heard what is an approved haircut style.
Well,
it depends on where you are.
I don't understand the question.
I
mean,
can't
it's
say anything.
approved by.
This is mostly what I was trying to get us to.
Tim's got to plead the fifth on
Gonna
this
get
one.
in trouble.
Tim, do you get a ruler out and measure Jonathan's hair every time the haircut comes up?
It's so long.
It is. It's
been
glorious.
It's been cut recently, but it
Like
is
shaped
It is
or-
it's 70s drummer hair. I mean, it's just he loves his hair so much, and hopefully, well, Drew, what do you have to say?
I don't know what to say. My son likes his hair on top,
not on the sides.
Not on the sides. So
Well,
he has
I went
a-
out-
But it's so much. I mean, I celebrate your hair on top. I mean,
When I went
Well,
out to
yeah.
Texas last year to stay with Barton, and Cole, his 16-year-old, all his hair is sticking straight out right here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hair. It's just like this, And
yeah, they have a problem with foreheads these days.
and B-Man said, I guarantee you, every one of his friends has the very same hairdo.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when Cole moved there and his friends had the hairdo, they told him, they said, we put powder in that to make it do that.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to show you how to do it? So they taught Cole how to do that. And they put powder. They put powder in there.
It's like a styling powder.
Barton called it dust, but Allison corrected him. No, it's a powder. It's not dust. But that's what makes his hair do this. And I'm thinking, are these guys are going to be real men someday? Maybe.
Not if they keep using the powder.
Well,
it's not a man move right there.
Well, we are sort of in maybe, I hope, the tail end of a mullet resurgence? Have y'all
There
seen
is
this
a-
on the teenage boys?
I hope we're on the tail end
Yeah.
of it, but I don't know.
There is a lot of mullet going on. I'll tell you one thing: you go to Pell City, you'll see a lot of mullets.
But I'm telling you, as long as there has been,
I'm sorry for throwing shade on Pell City, but I've been to archery meets with
they're
them.
proud of
they
it.
are heavy in the mullets.
but as long as there has been fathers and mothers, there have been people complaining about hair since day one. I mean, go back to the pictures out of the 60s and 70s and the hair then. And I'm sure there was some crazy hairstyles in the 30s and 40s. Tim, you may remember, were there? No, I'm just kidding. But so as long, I mean, I have a feeling that at some point Noah fussed at his children about keeping their hair cut and making it look right. I just, there's always going to be a battle. There's going to be changes in styles. Luckily, 3 of us in this room are gifted with, baldness. So we don't have to worry a lot about styling our hair. You keep it short, you keep it high and tight, and it looks nice. It gets long. You
Is
start
that what
looking like
people
you're
think?
trying too hard. Nathan, if you're listening, I'm talking about you right now. Trying too hard if you let it get long.
Dad, we've talked about Dad's time in Haleyville. The haircut in Haleyville was the comb over. That was the most popular haircut in Haleyville.
Yeah, and the men. Yeah.
And we always talked about, what do those guys look like when they get out of the shower?
Oh, yeah.
They got one side that's down past their shoulder, and the other side's cut short.
Was it just the straight comb over? Did anybody try to wrap or do the sort of the tornado or whatever?
Not since the optometrist in McKenzie, Tennessee.
Right.
There is a
That's
lot
kind
of that
a
in
Trump
our field.
thing, though.
His
Trump
came from back
Yeah.
here.
Oh,
that guy had a heart
Brought
in
it
the
forward.
middle of the back of his head.
Yeah, I've seen that look. It's not a good look.
That is crazy.
He brought it all forward into this independently moving hair-sprayed mass of follicles that just kind of floated on top of his dome.
I will never forget my senior year of high school. Our class sponsor was Mr. Wendell. He taught English. Obviously, he and I did not get along very well. I liked Mr. Wendell, but he did not give me good grades in English. And
Wonder why that was.
well, if you listen to this for long, you'll know. But we had a car wash as a class fundraiser, and he was out there, supervising, just there as the chaperone. And the wind caught his hair. And it was like you were talking about earlier, this sheet of hair blew over and he was totally bald on top. And his hair was like a foot long over here on the side. And I will never forget that moment. And I thought, I will never have a comb over because of moments like this. I mean, that would have been bad, but
the comb over fools no one.
Yeah, no one.
All
But
right,
that preacher was wound up.
Do we have the rest of the clip?
Yeah, let's let him go.
Where did
or is that pretty
that
much
was
it? Yeah.
That was the
Sadly, it cuts off right when he's getting revved up.
Yeah. Well, he just started. He said, I can start with the top of the head or I can start with the bottom of the feet. And he stopped then, I guess.
How much of that is righteous indignation and how much of it really is just entertainment? Trying to get a laugh out of the people. They like that kind of preaching, if you want to call it that. All that breathing. They go to school to learn how to breathe like that.
I just want to know how you do that from the pulpit. So
don't ask me.
I mean, I can understand you're talking about, you can preach on modesty. You can preach on, things like that. But to get up there and rant and rave about haircuts, it's like, let's use our time more wisely. Let's get in that King James and let's talk some scripture. How about that? I don't know. I don't like that style. And the breathing thing, I'd hyperventilate.
11.
Yeah. I don't know. But that was it. Thanks for submitting that to our
that was a good
passenger.
one.
That's a good one. Passengers, like I said, if you have one you want us to talk about, send it on. We'll listen to it. We're going to take a little break and we'll come back with our quote for the evening.
He should stick to writing songs. He has always been a genius, and he's known it all along. But he tried to sing to him, and it gets over for too long. Like emotion, like his pain, my one and only.
Welcome back to Passages. This is your neighbor, Jason Pulliam.
Jason, why are you changing your shoes?
Well, I almost brought a cardigan and a pair of sneakers tonight for this reason. For those of you who are my age and older, Patrick, do you remember this from your childhood? Okay, for Patrick's age and older, this brings back a little nostalgia. And we're playing this specifically because tonight our quote is from the great Fred Rogers.
So we go to the land of make-believe.
The land of make-believe.
Meow, 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 meow.
Fred Rogers, friend of Nathan Haar.
Yes.
Which is a little tie-in. So our quote tonight by Fred Rogers, I'm watching this and it's like sitting in my childhood watching this show come on TV again. All right, you better stop it, Patrick, because I'm going to start watching it and stop talking. So our quote tonight, and I really think this is a great quote, and it ties into some of what we've talked about before, but it's love isn't a state of perfect caring. It's an active noun like struggle. To love someone is to strive to accept that person exactly the way he or she is, right here and now. I'll read it one more time. Love isn't a state of perfect caring. It is an active noun like struggle. To love someone is to strive to accept that person exactly the way he or she is, right here and now. Fred Rogers. I love this quote. Today in our society, the word love has really, really, really been cheapened. In the Greek, and I'm sitting in the room with two Greek scholars, so I'll leave this up to them, but there's three different terms that are used for love. We don't have that. I can say, man, I love football, or I love macaroni and cheese, or I love my wife and my children, and we lose the nuance of what that word means. So we cheapen it. And I think Fred, if I can call him Fred, or Mr. Rogers, does a great job of telling us kind of what real love is about, that it is not a state of perfect caring. I think he's saying it's not just a feeling. It's something beyond that.
I was wondering what you thought he meant by that perfect caring.
I think part of that is he's saying it's not...
Caring would be like emotional.
An emotional thing. It's not it's not that I care for you so much. It's not that I can perfectly care for you emotionally. It's more of an active term. I think he's saying that when he uses the term that it's an active noun, like struggle, I think it's more of a verb, really. I think love is more of a verb. And maybe it is an active noun. Can that not become a verb?
Well, Dad and I were talking about this before, and we thought he's talking about a verb.
That's what
active noun.
Yeah, but I love this quote. I think it breaks it down, love, into something that we lose in the way we talk about it today. Because saying I love mac and cheese does not mean the same thing as Christ loved me so much that He came to earth and died for my sins.
It is an overused word, and the risk is for it to become meaningless. And it is often just used to describe fond feelings and well wishes.
Yeah, like could be used so often where love is used.
And our kids need Mr. Rogers. They need him. In the social media age, there's so much virtue signaling and so many social justice warriors online who will type to their heart's desire all their love for underprivileged classes and minorities, and take your pick of whatever cause they stand behind. But they never leave their bedrooms and do anything about it. And maybe they picket, maybe they march and protest. But even if they're getting out on the streets and they're saying things, a lot of them don't even know what they're saying, and they are they're causing a disturbance, but they're not helping anybody. They're not loving anybody. So they're shouting in the name of love, but they're not taking any action. And love acts.
This whole idea about, I'm still grappling with this idea where he says it's it's not a state of perfect caring. It's an active noun like struggle. And it comes to mind to me that, love's not always easy, right? It's just when we love someone, it's our love's not perfect. It's not God's love for us. Sometimes it's sort of ugly, and sometimes we struggle with one another, and I think maybe part of this is that love's a very active thing, and it isn't always perfect, and it's
messy.
But it is. It can be messy, but it's active, and it comes from a place of caring, right? And so this says it's not perfect caring, right? We all mess up with each other, right? So we love one another, but sometimes it's a struggle. We don't do the right things. We don't say the right things to one another sometimes. The part of this that, the second part of this, I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts about, because I'm struggling with it a little bit. To love someone is to strive to accept that person exactly the way he or she is right here and now. While I agree in acceptance of people, sometimes my love is to want someone to be somewhere different than where they are right now. Right?
Especially if they're on a self-destructive path.
Right. And so while my love reaches out in terms of my care for those people, and my love may extend beyond the way that person is, say, living their life, it's not always about acceptance, right? Because, if we really love people, most of all, as Christians, what we want them to do is for all of us to live in heaven throughout eternity, right? And sometimes that may have to do with people making changes.
Do you think maybe he was more thinking you've got to love them enough as they are currently to, in some ways, to do what you're talking about?
Certainly, probably does.
Yeah, if you don't kind of love them as they are now, not that you have to agree with anything they're doing or the state that they're in, but you got to love them enough to want to change that or help them change that.
And maybe that gets into what he means by the word acceptance.
So 2 things I thought about when I was thinking about that last portion is, first, the passage out of Romans 5:8 that says, "But God demonstrates his own love for us in this, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." So he loved us as sinners in that place. Now he wants better for us, but in that moment, in our sin, God still loved us. And then I thought about my own personal kind of story and existence. And in my lowest moment, in the worst time of my life, having caused just severe hurt and pain, my wife loved me through all of that. And that love was, she met me where I was at that time. Now, that love had expectations of improvement and expectations of growth, but the amount of love that I was shown when I certainly did not deserve it, that's what when I read that last part of the passage, that's what I thought about. I love that he uses the term struggle and strive. Those 2 terms, I think, are lost in the idea of love, but love is not easy. Mm-hmm. True love is hard. Loving someone in spite of or despite of their flaws, loving them when they're hurting you, loving them when they're wrong is not easy. God's love is perfect, but I think there are times that he grows frustrated with man because man rejects his love. I mean, I think about my own children and how much I love them, but there are times that I grow frustrated with them, but I love them despite their shortcomings.
Your frustration comes out of your love.
That's right. But when I read this quote, especially the full quote, the first thing I thought of was sitting in my house in 2017 thinking that the world was about to fall apart and my spouse loving me at my worst. That was the greatest example of love, short of what you read of in the Bible, I have ever seen. And the love of the people that were there supporting us, especially that night, June 14th of 2017, hurting with us, loving us despite the ugliness. That was the first time I really think I gained an understanding of what love was. And I didn't necessarily see it at the time, but in retrospect, looking back on it, that was true love in its purest form. And it's what he's talking about here, that they're striving to accept that person and love that person exactly the way he or she is right here and now. Not some expectation of what they can become or something that they have been in the past, but loving them in their ugliness in the present. And that's
Right.
what strikes me about this quote.
When you put it that way, I can get on board with it. I did share some of Tim's concerns about the second part of that because, love is transformative.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't want to leave somebody where they are. If they're in a bad place, it wants to help them to a better place. And, I thought of the proverb in Proverbs 27, verses 5 and 6. Better is open rebuke than hidden love. So maybe that kind of what do you call it? A perfect caring is like hidden love. Maybe that's a parallel. And then he says, faithful are the wounds of a friend, profuse are the kisses of an enemy. So I think we should add into this discussion that you find somebody where they are, you start where they are, but you may have to inflict a few wounds. But listen, you can't do that unless there's a previous relationship, right? Jason, we walked with you through those things that you're referring to. And we had, 17 years behind that. A complete stranger can't walk up to you and tell you what to do with your life or, not that anybody had to do that, but so you have to be careful on how you apply this thing about rebuke and the wounds of it's the wounds of a friend that are faithful.
Yeah. I think also, because we always beat these passages into dust sometimes, right? In overanalyzing
That's what we
them,
do.
right? But sometimes it's interesting to think about the person, right? It's always important to think about the person who delivers this message. And from what we know about Mr. Rogers, it makes me wonder if his idea about acceptance, when we think about today's world and acceptance equals, I agree with everything you're doing, right? That's the way that acceptance is defined in today's world. And perhaps he lived in a little bit of a different time, and he lived in a very different way as I understand it. I mean, I love the stories about his life and sort of the attitude that he took with, things with, and the approach that he took, and just the goodness that was all part of who he was. And I wonder if maybe this is his quote, so these are his thoughts, that acceptance is more that idea of, I accept you as a person I love. It doesn't necessarily entail with it, I accept every single thing you do and the way that you act and the way that you're approaching your life right now. And so maybe in this quote is the idea of accepting people and loving them where they are, not necessarily agreement with everything that they do and the way they carry out their life.
Jason, you said something that made me think about something we talk about at work a lot, of this idea of projecting success onto someone. So you think they have this bright future ahead, but they really need some time to sort of prove that out, right? Where you got this really bright intern and you just know they're going to be the chief of something in, a year or whatever. So you sort of project some success on them. Made me think something you said made me think a little differently of, you kind of have to be careful of projecting love on somebody where you don't project you don't project your love further than where they are to something, what you're talking about, Tim, where they're, not in their current state or doing whatever they're doing or wherever they are, however they are. You're not projecting further than that. You've got to love them now so that you can get there and walk with them through some hard times or I don't really know.
These are interesting. Just these are interesting concepts, right?
Yeah.
The thought of how to love someone. What does it mean to accept them? Does acceptance mean full agreement? I mean, there's a lot of good things to think about.
And a lot of classic rock songs have been going through my head as we've said these things.
Oh,
Like
really? Wow.
Love hurts. If you love somebody, set them free.
Free.
And just as we've been talking, the soundtrack is going through my head. So this is the stuff of classic rock.
But I do think something that Tim said is, I think we love the person and we hate the sin. And we can accept a person, but not necessarily accept their behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the person we love. It's the heart that we love. It's the potential that we love that people see. I believe as I read this, that's what Mr. Rogers is discussing. That's what he's talking about. I don't think he's saying, hey, if you're out here living a crazy, sinful lifestyle, love is I accept you and this crazy lifestyle. I think he's saying I accept you as a person no matter what.
I will engage with you.
Yeah.
So
I don't
this
have
reminds me
to.
of what we've been talking about on Sunday mornings in Judges. And I know I keep bringing it up in the class, but I love how the angel of the Lord first greets Gideon. Gideon, this coward threshing wheat in the winepress, and he says, "You're a mighty man of valor."
Yeah.
No, he's not.
The guy's been hiding.
But that's what the
That's what
Lord
he
saw
sees
in
in
him.
Yeah.
That's what Patrick was talking about, right?
Yeah,
Is sometimes we, and this maybe gets into some of this acceptance. Sometimes we need someone else to see more in us than we see in ourselves.
Yeah. And God always sees more in us.
Well, and give us the opportunity to grow in ourselves.
Yeah.
So often we see somebody that doesn't fit a mold or doesn't have a lifestyle that we particularly agree with. And I know I'm guilty of this. We quickly write them off. And love is patient. Love is kind. And you just keep going. And sometimes love requires loving the person where they are, but being willing to be patient and involved with them to allow them to grow. I mean, we're all sinners. We all fail. We all make tons of mistakes. And it's only by the love of God and the love of our family that we have opportunity to grow and find success and to find righteousness and well-being.
Dad, what are you thinking over there?
He
that
looks
it's past
tired.
your bedtime?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's late.
All right. So I do have a question for you before we wrap this up.
Uh-oh.
Do you really think that in Job's day, they drank donkey milk?
That is a great question.
Do you really expect us to believe that?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Donkey milk.
Why she donkeys?
Because they have the baby donkeys. So the more mother donkeys you have, the bigger your flock.
There's no mention of a male donkey in there anywhere.
Oh, see, this is what happens when I start arguing scripture with
They called it she donkey because it wasn't he donkey.
Exactly.
But it was the donkey.
And she donkeys give milk.
And babies.
Yeah.
Donkey milk.
That was a
Donkey
good
milk.
question.
I'm
going to have to pop
Does
it through
anybody in any place in the world today drink donkey milk. And what's wrong with a
know.
cow?
I wouldn't know about Mesopotamia.
You know what Robert De Niro said, though, about...
Let's anything.
Let's not go there. Okay.
Oh, well.
So this is, all right. Donkey milk has been used by humans for alimentary and cosmetic purposes since Egyptian antiquity. Now, this is from Wikipedia, so, take that with a grain of salt.
Well, and I'm not sure if you know this or not, Jason, but donkey milk's similar to human milk in its high protein and lactose content and low fat. It's been used since ancient time for infant nutrition and cosmetics.
And here's a YouTube video from 4 years ago. Donkey milk is the new COVID-19 drink for Europeans.
What? COVID-19 drink?
That's what it says here.
So if you get COVID-19,
it looks like we stand corrected.
Remedy is donkey milk?
Well, you may or may not know this, but donkey milk also contains thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, folic acid, nicotinic acid, and vitamin B6.
Well, you're right. I didn't know that. But I think Dad is vindicated with his interpretation of Job.
I think he proves you wrong, Drew.
Well, I wasn't saying...
So how about the camels? Why would anybody need so many camels?
I liked your theory.
I like that interpretation.
I like the trucking company, and I
did like that.
He had a trucking company.
I think Thomas got excited back there behind me.
There we got it.
He had
got a guy that does trucking logistics here. That
rent a ride. Yeah. Do you think he charged more for the camels with 2 humps or the camel with 1 hump? That's the question.
The Bactrian camels?
I'm going to have to go with your knowledge on that. Dromedary was one.
There you go. Dromedary. What are we doing?
I don't know. It's getting late. It's almost 10:30 and our minds are shot.
Those are 2 humps.
I think this is approaching the longest episode we've had.
Well,
it might be time.
And can I just say to our listeners, if the guys didn't rat me out, that most of this episode I was outside looking for my car keys.
Which, if anybody finds them, still
we found
missing.
Them.
Oh,
so
you did?
I have an update on the car keys. So I disappeared because my wife texted me and she said, "We can't find the car keys. We can't go home." And so we looked everywhere, and I won't say where they were. We found them.
Clearly, you didn't look everywhere.
They were. You know what? They were in a place that we had not looked at yet.
You had not looked at. Yeah.
I would like to go on the record of saying when I have left the podcast before, I was also outside looking for car keys. Maybe.
No.
So
I don't think so.
Can we say that if you told us where they were, that it would assign blame to someone?
I don't even want to comment on that.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up.
Yeah. So I think it's been great having my dad here for this. I hope it's not the last episode that we have him on.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. Anytime you're in town on a Wednesday night between 8 and 10:30,
there's a mic here for you.
You're welcome to be here.
Can always do a Zoom call too.
That's true.
Technology.
We live in the 21st century, don't we?
Thank you for letting me be a part of the podcast, and thank you for letting me speak tonight to the Asheville Road Church.
Oh,
you did a great job.
It was wonderful.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Well, thanks to all our passengers for listening. We come up with quotes every week. We love doing it. We love that you listen and keep the feedback going, spread the word, and stay with us till the next episode of Passages.
Follow us on Instagram at Passages_podcast. And join us next time on Passages.